Welcome into the Ohio State Football Report presented by Prize Picks. For months, for weeks, for days, we talk about David Gabriel Georges, the five-star running back the Buckeyes are going after heavy in recruiting. What will it cost to land him? We have just gotten new information revealed from a OSU insider about what Tennessee has on the table for David Gabriel Georges, essentially what Ohio State is going to have to match or come close to get the five-star running back to Columbus. And I'll tell you right now, it could be more than $6 million in total value. A kid that hasn't started his senior year of high school yet is sitting down at the table with the nation's best programs asking or negotiating, talking about, however it's being said, about $6 million in total value, plus some other perks overall here. It was Jeremy Birmingham from Lettermen Row talking about what he believes is going on kind of here with Tennessee's offer specifically in this situation. From speaking to different sources around this recruitment, Ohio State still feels there's a battle brewing here. Tennessee's NIL offering, while impossible to really substantiate, is higher than what the Buckeyes have put together. As expected, we've talked about that on the show, that the Buckeyes probably won't reach that NIL amount, but they will be competitive. Continues, Lettermen Row has heard it speculated that there is more than $6 million in total on the table for David Gabriel Georges over 3 years. That doesn't include the usual SEC-inspired extras that often win the day. Cars, the Adidas deal is a big part of this. There's a lot of other stuff in the works that Ohio State usually doesn't subscribe to as much. Whether that's private air travel, real estate offerings, that's the way the world works when there are no rules being enforced. Shout out our guy Berm over at Lettermen Row. This quote is everywhere right now talking about it. Before we really break it down, I do want to ask you guys straight up, how much would you pay David Gabriel Georges? It looks like $6 million over 3 years, $2 million a year. Again, a guy that hasn't played a snap of college football, so it looks like $2 million a year. How much would you pay David Gabriel Georges? Let us know down below. I do want to kind of recap real quick if you're still in the mindset of, whether you don't understand who he is or you want to hear it once again. We got a five-star running back, top 10 in the class of 2027. Keemon Spell, ironically, is the number one running back in this class. George is just uncommitted at this point in time. Keemon Spell committed to Georgia. Number one running back in Tennessee. We've heard from his coaches. We've looked at his stats. We continue to get interesting information over and over again about how good the Canadian native, now living in Tennessee, how good he really is, right? We can't have hit it enough here on the Ohio State Football Report. This one's from our Tennessee show. Shout out Joey. You got some cool numbers there. I'm going to be honest. I'm not weightlifting. I can't tell you. I imagine all that's good, right, for David Gabriel Georges there. Plus, coming off a massive junior season, almost 2,000 yards rushing, tons of touchdowns, undefeated season, state champion, one of the Mr. Footballs named that the Tennessee Titans name them every single year. So, if you're not gathering it, DGG is a big deal, right? David Gabriel Georges is a big deal in general. And listen, $6 million, you hear that number, right? And that's the number that's going to be passed around. DGG getting offered or is worth $6 million. It's an intimidating number. It really is. I understand. Let's keep in mind one thing. Berm noted there that would be over 3 years, right? Jeremy Birmingham noted. And at this point in time, we can feel okay because we know Ohio State's competing with that number or something close to it, right? In the 3 years, $6 million. I don't know where Ohio State is, but we know they're competing NIL-wise. We have learned that, and we have known that from the beginning. At a certain point, though, how much is too much, right? Tennessee needs a player like this. They offer money like this because they don't have the other players to go with it, right? They don't have the other talent in the building to lean on. So they need guys like this. The Buckeyes, I think they more go for a group setting, right? They get a Chris Henry Jr. for less than Oregon because he wants to play with the best. Don't you think that's reasonable? Yeah, that plays into it. How much? It's too much. I said Ohio State will raise their level of NIL, but they may not match Tennessee's level of NIL. Plus, at this point in time, I think it's funny we're talking about running backs and NIL and how much is too much and offers and whatnot. Remember the Bo Jackson reaction when he was renegotiating his NIL after the season with Ohio State. I want to break that down more with you guys in just 1 second. First, Today's show is presented by Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app, and there's a lot of exciting things happening right now on the Prize Picks app. We break down the lineups for you guys all the time because they're so easy to put together. Pick more or less on a few player stats and then lock in your lineup. We've talked baseball, we've talked basketball, we've talked football. Recently, soccer, right? The World Cup up and moving. You definitely want to get in on that one there. It's kind of similar for some other things happening, right? Something special going on this weekend. Some fights happening in the nation's capital. We thought it would be fun to display this for you guys to show you how it can work too. If this is more your interest, or to show really what Prize Picks can offer across multiple sports. You got names on here, and then the stats like we talked about. Interesting to see significant strikes, knockdowns, round one significant strikes. You can go more on those numbers, less on those numbers, right? Names you may recognize, names you may need to learn more about before you put them in your lineup. But I thought this was really cool from producer Aiden Paris, so we definitely wanted to feature that on the show today. Plus, with Prize Picks, they have early payouts. So if your player or the name you have on the board there gets off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Plus, right now, Flex Friday is officially back on Prize Picks. Flex Friday lineups are protected plays again. So if you don't win, Prize Picks will give you a bonus lineup to run it back. That's right. Flex Fridays have returned, so be sure to learn more about that on Prize Picks. And today, we have a new user offer for you guys. If you download the Prize Picks app with the link in the comment section and description, then use code HMA, you'll get $50 in lineups. And all you have to do, play your first $5 lineup. That's code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. So, back to the Bo Jackson discussion a little bit here because, again, the Berm hit on a good point there where he said the NCAA and football and everybody's trying to get things together and figure things out, and there aren't that many rules yet. And Bo Jackson's a good example. Right now, if you can believe it or not, when a player finishes their first year, they're essentially a free agent, right? You'd like to keep them, but they can go in the portal if they want, or they can do what Bo Jackson did, renegotiated his NIL with Ohio State. There were some light rumors after a 1,000-yard freshman season. What were the numbers going to be? And I remember the discussion point was Bo was going to look for what Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins got in their senior years with Ohio State. I believe it was $500K to $750K towards $1 million. I mean, numbers were being thrown around for Bo Jackson, and people still getting acclimated to the NIL discussion, right? And the money discussion, and millions being thrown at players. Here's some comments back from a video we did. People wanted a cap on the NIL at that point in time. Again, they just people acclimating to the idea of college football players making millions, hundreds of thousands. Right now, we're talking about a high schooler getting $2 million before he even makes it to college football in David Gabriel Georges. That was from Charles, hitting on the fact that need a cap, doesn't love NIL in general, right? That's not uncommon. A lot of people kind of had that opinion on that video that we did back then. For that one, Ohio World with a little bit of something similar, talking about, $750K was what he was thinking for Bo, but then he added on there like he needs to take a leap forward. He's got to get better, right? We have to get into that discussion more overall. So I think it's funny because we go from Bo Jackson, who was a 1,000-yard rusher as a freshman, people not wanting to pay him millions. Now we're on David Gabriel Georges, who looking at needing $2 million a year possibly to make him a Buckeye, maybe something close. It looks like at least $1 million at this point in time. I will note, I think it's a small wrinkle, but I think it's a nice part of it. The idea of a 3-year deal, $6 million over 3 years plus the perks. Look, say what you want about how much they're paying him. I get that's another discussion to be had and another debate to be had. I asked you guys how much you wanted to pay him. But I will add in there, I like the idea of a 3-year deal, right? It's kind of annoying that every year now Bo Jackson has to negotiate another year with Ohio State. I think Bryce Underwood has a 3-year deal with Michigan. So that's an example. Like, you can do it. You can put a multi-year deal together. It's just not common yet in the NIL world. Good place to start might be a 5-star running back in David Gabriel Georges. Speaking of Bo Jackson, while we're kind of having this discussion about David Gabriel Georges and we're having Bo in the mix a little bit here, have we considered this man's feelings, right? Again, 1,000-yard rusher as a freshman, not a guy that Ohio State really projected to be their guy. right? It was more going to be James People and CJ Donaldson. Next thing you know, it's mainly Bo and a little bit of Isaiah West. And now, as he prepares for a big sophomore season and then what he would hope would be an NFL tone-setting career junior season, he's hearing all about David Gabriel Georges. And a reminder, Bo's only going to be a sophomore in 26, a junior in 27. He has to play those 2 years. So David Gabriel Georges will arrive on campus and be a Buckeye, again, if you win the recruiting battle here, in Bo's junior year. Again, what did I call that, right? An NFL caliber, like that would be his year to really prove himself to be an NFL running back overall. And yet DGG is going to be on campus with $1.5 million, $2 million in his pocket, potentially, at that point in time. Hate to say it. If all that happens the way we think it may, the way some of you hope it may, right? You want David Gabriel Georges. There's a real possibility Bo enters the transfer portal. There's a real possibility he says, I'm not competing with anybody. I've been good for 2 years here. Maybe they don't give him an NIL raise because they have to pay David Gabriel Georges. There's a real possibility at that point in time that Bo Jackson says, you know what, Miami's offering me a raise. They don't have any other running backs. I'm going there. That's college football now. Look, I don't want to, gloom and doom. That's not what I want to do here, but I can't help thinking about it when we talk about David Gabriel Georges and how it could affect Bo Jackson, who again has his faults. We've talked about the breaking the big runs and breaking bigger runs and tackles and creating and what he's going to have to do as a sophomore, but it's a 1,000-yard rusher as a true freshman 4-star. He is an Ohio kid. I know you guys love that about him. We love that about a lot of recruits. So I think that's an interesting part of this. I think it also all kind of leads back to this says what Ohio State thinks of David Gabriel Georges, what they really feel about David Gabriel Georges, how important he is to this program, to Ryan Day, to, I guess Arthur Smith just got here, to Carlos Lachlan, especially, right? A guy that's been recruiting him since he was in 8th grade. The Buckeyes have put off recruiting other running backs from what we've heard, from what the reports have said, that in the past 2 years, they've not gone heavy after big names, right? Savion Hyder, who ended up going to Michigan. Buckeyes probably could have really went for it, could have really taken a swing. But from what we've heard, the David Gabriel Georges value has led to this, them skipping out on that. And now it could lead to them risking losing Bo. It could get to the point where they say, you know what? It's going to stink to lose Bo in his junior year, but we can't pay both. We've worked so hard on the David Gabriel Georges thing. We're going to have to let Bo go. Or, again, this is a risk, right? You're not guaranteed to lose Bo Jackson. Heck, it'd be great to watch Bo and DGG. But the question is it worth it? Is David Gabriel Georges worth losing Bo Jackson? A proven commodity, a guy who has done it in college football, and then a running back who you have not seen hit the field yet that wants and warrants $1.5 million to $2 million a year for 3 years. Let me know what you guys think. Type Y for yes, it's worth it. Type N for no, it's not worth losing Bo. As we get into the weekend, the official visits continue for Ohio State. Wanted to make sure we gave you guys some confirmed names that we have as of right now. There's always like some floaters and people that get added late. Montana Torbert end up rearranging his schedule a little bit. Deontay Malone will be on campus. Caden Moss, Quentin Cipher, and as we talked about yesterday, Monshun Sales, the 5-star wide receiver, will be on campus. Big one there for Cortez Hankton. Quentin Cipher committed, so he's just coming on campus, getting acclimated. He's also been another guy where it's like he's been meeting people and trying to get them to be Buckeyes. So he's a good dude to have with this group in general. I think Sales is a long shot. I'll just say that. So I'm not really sure where we stand there. And on the offensive line, the Buckeyes already have 5 recruits on the O-line. So Caden Moss would be like a luxury for Tyler Bowen if he can land him. But that's the name of the game. So my focus for the weekend, my thing I'm watching mainly for Ohio State recruiting-wise this weekend is on Montana Torbert and Deontay Malone, the cornerbacks. The Buckeyes have 2 safeties in the class of 2027. They do not have a corner at this point in time. We know with Montana Torbert, the 4-star corner, was committed to Indiana, decommits, cancels his Notre Dame trip, so he completely throws the state of Indiana the middle finger there. And then now it is down for Montana Torbert. Crazy enough, I still don't know how it gets to this point, but it is down to Ohio State and Michigan for Montana Torbert. Official visit this weekend with Ohio State. Official visit with the team up north next weekend. We will keep an eye on how things work out there. And look, time's passing quickly. We're going to start getting commitments here, so be sure you're subscribed and locked in with us here on the Ohio State Football Report. And then Ohio's own, Massillon's own, Deontay Malone, the 4-star corner, set to play both sides of the ball in his senior year. He has had some better recruiting rankings, starting to rise up a little bit here. He's originally a 3-star, so he's done really well improving himself, and the Buckeyes have serious interest there. Why not get both? That's my theory. Let's get Torbert and Malone this weekend. OG Walt, Tim Walton, get it done, man. Make it happen. Go get these guys, make them Buckeyes, make it work during the official visits. And again, recruiting season heating up right now. We know David Gabriel Georges is going to go into July, but you can see we're getting new info every day there. We're getting more official visits. We're getting more big news with Ohio State recruiting. Don't miss out. Hit that sub button.